Hello. What I've been working on is translating the Bible from German into English, with a twist. When I began to study German, it became apparent that much of the language had old or archaic English overtones. Much of what I was learning was similar to the King James English I was familiar with from the Bible. For instance, you have thees and thous, thines and mine. A hat is not a hat, it's a hood. A dog's not a dog, it's a hound. Pigs are swine, meat is flesh. You come from whence and thence, you go hither and thither. In my imagination I could see myself immersed in the medieval age, time traveling back 500 years through this language. Then began my interest in searching out these etymological connections. And so, what this is a practical way to share what I've found with you. First, I prepared the first two chapters of Matthew, except without the list of genealogies. Bolded words on the side labeled English are non-Germanic words. Bolded words on the German side are German words whose cognates were not used because they don't resonate readily to my modern English ears. Maybe you'll see a connection where I didn't see one. Please feel free to leave suggestions in the comments down below. But the birth of Jesus Christ happened so. As Mary his mother was betrothed to Joseph, it was found ere he hauled her home that she was pregnant of the Holy Ghost. But Joseph her man was godly, and would not bring she in shame, but thought to forlet her secretly. Yet as he bethought that, see there shone to him the angel of the Lord in a dream, and spoke, Joseph, thou son of David, fear thee not to take to thee Mary thine woman, than what she has received, that is of the Holy Ghost. And she will bear a son, to him shalt thou give the name Jesus. Then he will rid his folk of their sins. But that is all happened, and is therewith fulfilled, what the Lord had said through the prophet, that spoke there, See, a young woman will be pregnant, and bear a son, and she will give him the name Emmanuel, that is overset, God with us. Now as Joseph awoketh from sleep, did he as the angel of the Lord had befallen him, and took his woman to him, and he touched she not, until she bore a son, and gave him the name Jesus. As Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea to the tide of King Herod, see there came Wisemen out of Morningland nigh Jerusalem, and spoke, Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We have seen his star in the morning land, and are come on him to bid. As the King Herod heard that, ashrekketh he, and with him all Jerusalem. And he let all the high priests and scribes of the folk come together, and proved of them where the Christ should be born. And they said to him, In Bethlehem, in Judea. Then so say a scribe through the prophets, And thou, Bethlehem, in the Jewish land, beest in no way the smallest under the states in Judah. Then out of thee will come the prince that shall shepherd mine folk Israel. Then Herod called the wise men secretly to himself, and kneweth exactly from them when the star were shining, and sent them nigh Bethlehem, and spoke, Toweth hence, and search diligently nigh the kid, and when ye find it, so saith it to me, that also I may come and bid on it. As they had now heard the king, they towed hence, and see the star that they had seen in the morning land goeth for them hither, till he stood over the place where that kid was. As they saw the star, they were highly frolic, and gone in that house, and found that kid with Mary, his mother, and fell neath, and bid on it, and did their treasures up, and gifted him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And God befell them in a dream not to return again to Herod. Then they towed up another way in their land. But as they were towed hence way, see there shone the angel of the Lord to Joseph in a dream, and spoke, Stay up, take that kid and his mother with thee, and flee nigh Egypt, and live there, till I say it to thee. Then Herod has sought for that kid in order to bring it under. Then he stood up, and took that kid and his mother with him by night, and escaped nigh Egypt, and belived there till nigh the death of Herod. Therewith will be fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophets, that spoke there, Out of Egypt have I called mine son. As Herod now saw that he was betrayed of the wise men, he was so wroth, and sent out and let all children that were 2 years and thereunder in Bethlehem and in the whole region deaden, nigh the tide that he exactly kneweth had of the wise men. That is fulfilled what is said through the prophet Jeremiah, that spoke there. In Ramah men had heard a cry, much whining and woe-wailing. Rachel bewhined her children, and would not let herself be trusted. Then it was out with them. But as Herod was starved, see, there shone the angel of the Lord to Joseph in a dream in Egypt, and spoke, Stay up, take that kid and his mother with thee, and tow hence in that land Israel. They are starved that have tried nigh the life of the kid. Then he stood up and took that kid and his mother with him, and came in that land Israel. But as he heard that Archelaus was king in Judea instead of his father Herod, he feared to go thence. And in a dream he received a command from God, and towed in the Galilean land, and came and dwelt in the state with the name Nazareth. Therewith would be fulfilled what is said through the prophets, He shall be called a Nazarene. In this point of the video, I'd like to go over a few words from these two chapters. First off, we have in verse 21 the German word retten, which I have translated to rid. Retten is normally translated as save, however, the cognate of retten makes for an interesting insight that Jesus' purpose was to come and rid his people of their sins. Check out this example in Wiktionary. I'm glad to be rid or saved of that stupid nickname. Moving on to verse 1 of chapter 2, we have the Morningland, Morgenland in German. This is referring to the east. The sun rises in the east in the morning, and for that same reason the west is called the evening land. In verse 9 we have he, which is in German. In this verse the star is referred to as a he. This is called anthropomorphization or personification, and from what I understand this used to be much more common in English at one point. In verse 10 we have a frolic, which I've translated from the German word erfreut. For this one I've gone to the Wiktionary page, and by the way, Wiktionary is a very helpful resource for this kind of research. Erfreut is made of two morphemes or parts, and freut. Is equated with the prefix a in English, and freut comes from freuen, to make glad. Similar root as frolic. However, as I was thinking about erfreut, the word afraid came to mind and makes me wonder if there's any connection between the two. Next, in verse 16 of chapter 2, we have so and sehr. I actually didn't see a connection for this word until recently, but it seems pretty obvious. Sehr is translated to very, but take a look at these two examples from Wiktionary. Ich bin sehr glücklich. I'm very or so happy. And ich vermisse dich sehr. I miss you a lot. Or imagine, as might be heard in British English, I've missed you so. Or, how I've missed you so. In verse 19 we have starved and gestorben. This one is interesting because in German, sterben means to die, whereas in English, starve just means to be seriously hungry. At some point in history, the word in English must have diverged from its original Germanic meaning. And then lastly, in verse 21, we have thence and dorthin. And this is a tricky one because dort just means there, but hin and her in German is where it gets difficult. I'm not sure I understand it completely, so someone in the comments might be able to help, but what I understand is that her refers to a place that you have come from, and hin refers to a place you are going. I was taught when I was learning German, woher kommst du, and wohin gehst du. However, in English, it almost seems to be flip-flopped. In English, I believe it is whence camest thou, and whither goest thou. It's the same with where and who. Where relates to wo in German, while who relates to wer in German. But for the purposes of this video, which I realize might be a contentious thing to some people, I've translated the word based on its audible cognation. So hin would go with hence, and her with hither. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking this video. It will really help this content to reach a wider audience. Please also, if you're interested in this kind of content, reach out in the comments and consider supporting this channel so I can continue to release more content. Thank you.